Vegas, and welcome. We're going to talk about week 4 in the NFL. And let's look at the opening lines, make some comments on the games, and let me add this to the screen. Share screen. Okay, we have to just get rid of this. Sometimes we bring it in there. Okay, so let's try that. Not sure that's the right way to do it, but we'll start here. We're looking at tonight's game. Lions. Oh, no, excuse me. This is next week's games. Let's see, tonight's games. There's tonight's games. The opening line, of course, the DraftKings was Ravens -6. And right now it's 4.5 over the Lions. And we're not going to say too much about that because we know what happened last week. The Lions put up a 50 burger on the Bears, who turned around and beat up on Dallas. We can say a lot about Dallas, but they're a mess. Now, we have Minnesota opens as a 1.5-point dog at Pittsburgh, and now they're a 2.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh. Very interesting. Minnesota has a backup quarterback, but boy, he played well. Carson Wentz played really well. That's his 6th team he's been on since last 6 years. So that's pretty damn awesome. Then the Eagles, big comeback win against the Rams. Amazing. Block a kick, pick it up, run it in, win the game, and cover. I mean, that's probably the worst bad beat anybody, including I had the Rams plus 3.5. I know a lot of people had a lot of money on the Rams plus 3.5, plus 4. Eagles open 2.5, still 2.5 or 3. Here's the problem. Tampa Bay has offensive line problems. They got a quarterback that's probably player of the year at this point. What is this little thing that's messing me up over here? Baker Mayfield's been absolutely magic for the Buccaneers the last few years, and he's the comeback victories each week. 3-0 team. It's pretty incredible. However, you're not going to get away with having offensive line problems all year long, and the Eagles, of course, can put a lot of pressure on you. They have a great defensive line. The Saints, unfortunately, are going through hell this year. Yeah, they've had a couple moments where they looked okay. Buffalo opens 14.5 now, up to 16.5 in some spots. Boy, I don't know how the hell the Saints are going to get through this year. They just don't have much of a team. Then we go to Carolina, who magically had a big win this past week. Go to New England, who's failed to win at home yet. And Drake May is making a lot of mistakes. The team's making a lot of mistakes. They outplayed Pittsburgh in a lot of ways, but they turned the ball over 5 times. And you just can't do that. Patriots are 5.5. Boy, I don't know what to say. I couldn't imagine what to do with that game. The Commanders, the backup quarterback and all, opened 1.5 up to 2.5 or 3 at Atlanta, who got absolutely blistered, pummeled, didn't score. I don't know what to say about that. That was a very bad effort. They put up, statistically, wasn't that bad, but the Commanders with a backup quarterback played pretty well, took care of business. The Browns, this is the big one. Down 10-0, 3 minutes to go. All of a sudden, a couple things go their way. They score. They win 13-10. Their defense is real deal. They open a 10.5-point dog. Detroit's 10.5. Of course, Detroit's playing Monday night. And now we're down to 8 or 8.5. Lions over the Browns. Lions will be playing at home. The Titans, who are starting to look more competitive, okay, against the Texans. The Texans have problems. Their offensive line is terrible. Stroud is terrible because he's so used to getting hit. He's getting hit even before he gets hit. It's in his head. This is not a well-coached team. The Titans aren't a well-coached team either, but they have a rookie quarterback who's starting to show some progress. Yeah, they ran into a buzzsaw, but Texans should not be a 7.5 point favorite over anybody. I'm sorry, folks. The Texans do not deserve to be favored by that much. The Chargers, unreal. Jim Harbaugh's there. Man, is he doing a job. The open 5.5. We're seeing 6s against the Giants. The Giants head coach is probably 1 or 1A to get fired. Miami played a reasonable game up in Buffalo, and I thought their head coach would have been gone by now, but there's been a little bit of progress there. So the Giants looked absolutely awful. Of course, they're playing a real good defense with the Chiefs. When they ran up against Dallas, they looked much better because Dallas is a Jerry Jones owner, coach, everything. He does it all, and he doesn't do it well. So we're seeing Chargers 6 at the Giants. That's a cross-country trip. That's a tough spot. Giants 0-3. Man, this is desperation time for them. Can the Chargers come off winning 3 straight division games and then be favored to play the lowly Giants? I don't know. This is really a letdown spot. Man, this is a tough one. You'd have to probably look at taking the 6. Boy, I hate to do that, but you might have to. The 49ers eked it out against Arizona. Now they'll play the Jags, non-division game, 3.5 point favorite. The Jags, Lawrence is not an NFL starter. I'm sorry. He's been around 5-6 years. He hasn't shown anything. Came out of college, Mr. World. He was going to be everything. He just makes too many mistakes. He just doesn't manage the game well. Yeah, he's going to have his games, but not consistently. He is not taking the Jaguars anywhere but to the middle of the road or the bottom of the pack. Niners, of course, are fighting with all the injuries that they have, and that's an issue. But they're fighting, and they will get some of these players back. Purdy actually might play this game. The Colts, who are just killing everybody, beating up everybody. They're playing at the Rams. Rams open 5.5. They're down 3.5, 4.5 in a couple spots. But the Colts have been a whirlwind, but they have played a bottom strength of schedule so far. The Rams are not that, and they're coming off a devastating loss against Philadelphia. I think they were up 26-7, and they lost the game. They never scored after they get that lead, 26-7. They lose the game. Then they lose the cover and a lot of money for a lot of backers. This is a tough spot. The Colts may run into a problem here. Now, injuries are going to creep in. So this is early Monday. We're going to have to check these injuries. And, of course, we're going to have to check the weather for every game, except the indoor games, of course. But Stafford is older. He did get bounced around in that game. We're going to have to check a lot of injuries in that game. The Bears ran Dallas out of the building, but Dallas is a mess, a total mess. Eberflus is a terrible defensive coordinator. They've missed so many draft picks. They've made so many mistakes. And then CeeDee Lamb getting hurt didn't help either. Dak is the highest paid quarterback in football. Is that true? Oh, my God. He's good, but he's not that good. So the Bears open a 1.5 point dog. Looks like the Bears are either 1 or 1.5 point favorites. Either way, against the Raiders, who've absolutely looked pathetic in their last 2 games after beating the Patriots in the opening game on the road. Hard to say what either one of these teams, but we did see a lot of progress from the Bears, and Caleb Williams finally looked like he was in sync with his new head coach. That could be a very big positive for the Bears. I see no positives right now for the Raiders. Ravens at the Chiefs. And of course, the Ravens are playing Monday night against Detroit, but now they're going against the Chiefs. This is a big game, man. How many times have the Ravens run against the Chiefs and not done so well because they got Harbaugh getting conservative at the end, Lamar not producing in the big games. But they opened 2.5. They're a 2.5-point favorite at the Chiefs. Now that will change depending on the Monday night results. Green Bay at Dallas. Green Bay's coming off that unbelievable loss to Cleveland. Up 10-0, 3 minutes to go, and all of a sudden, Cleveland, who has a dominating defense going on, man. They are so good on defense. If only they could produce points. Well, they did produce points. In the last 3 minutes, they picked up 13 points to beat the Packers, 13-10. Shocking. Just like the Rams. Shocking loss. Shocking. Now they go to Dallas, who has absolutely zero defense. Zero defense. We do not know if CD Lamb will be back. He did have an ankle injury. He did not play very much in the game against Chicago. And I'll tell you, Dallas is it's a pathetic situation there with Jerry Jones and the decisions he's made. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they do what they do, but the Packers are going to be pissed. And this is, of course, a return of Parsons, who was traded or at the last minute to the Packers from Dallas. So this is a big game for these two teams. Now, Monday night, you got the Jets at Miami. The Jets, as their coach says, this is not the same old Jets. They made a big comeback against Tampa. Now, Tampa's playing with 3 offensive linemen out. They had a lead. Jets came back. They took the lead. Baker Mayfield, who is right now player of the year for me, he's incredible. Miami opens and still 2.5-point favorite in this game. Miami has not had a good year either, but they played reasonably well at Buffalo. I don't know what the Jets have. I know they're dealing with the backup quarterback, coaching changes, et cetera, but they have not looked good. Miami at least looked good in their last 2 games, in parts of those last 2 games. There might be more life there than the Jets have. Bengals, oh boy, what can you say about the Bengals? They lose Joe Burrow, and then they go play a backup quarterback in Wentz at Minnesota, and Minnesota just ran them out of the ballpark. I'm talking about ran them out of the ballpark. That was a pathetic effort. And now you got Denver, who lost a big game to the Chargers, and that's 2 in a row they've lost. And in their win, they weren't that impressive. The Broncos are just reeling right now. Open 6.5, went to 7.5 at DraftKings, 7.5 you're seeing everywhere. I don't want what to think about this Bengal team without Burrow. They should have more going for them on offense than we saw yesterday, but their defense is pathetic. Their defense is pathetic. This is a big game for the Broncos, who had big aspirations this year. Bengals have no aspirations. They're in the toilet and it's circling. So you just flush the handle. They're done because Burrow's not coming back. There's no reason to come back at this point. And that's all I have to say for this. I don't know what's wrong with this screen. Why I can't get rid of these images here. It's crazy stuff. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. It was a crazy Sunday. It was a crazy Sunday. We had a lot of blocked kicks. I mean, the one in Philadelphia, the block kick, guy picks it up, runs 70 yards for a touchdown, which gives them the victory and the cover. Might have been the greatest bad beat I've seen in the last decade. But over the years, you do have some of those. I did not have a great week personally. A lot of stuff. I had the Rams. I'd lost that one. I did add the Jets late because of the information I got on the offensive line, but didn't look like they were going to win. But they came back and did cover the game. So it's one of those things. We're week 3 in, and we got a long way to go for the season. I'm optimistic because after doing this for 6 decades, you have bad weeks, you have bad days, you got bad hours, you got bad months. But if you keep doing your work and you stay consistent and bankroll management, keep yourself in the game, you can go a long way, and we make it to the Super Bowl with more money in our pocket than we started with. That's the goal. Anyway, have a great day, and we will talk to you throughout the week with shorts and long videos. Thank you much.